Hello everybody, today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Stellar Conflict. This is a game published by Stronghold games in the US, created by Artipia Games. This is a reimagining, reboot of an old James Ernest game called Lightspeed, which was free through their cheap-ass games line. In Stellar Conflict, this is a kind of a speed-based game where you're laying ships out on a table, and the ships have lasers. You're trying to blow up opponents' ships and steal cargo from their cargo ship. This game can be played for 2 to 4 players. I'm going to be setting up for a 2-player game, and I'll explain kind of what happens in a 3 and 4-player game as well. So to start, you have to decide what type of battle you want to have. If you want to have a short, medium, or long battle, and short, medium, and long is kind of funny because it's either 30 seconds, 60 seconds, or 2 minutes. So not a very long time, even in long battles. But essentially, if you want to have a 30-second battle, you have 10 credits that you can spend. Credits are essentially the cost of your ship. If you had a medium battle, it's 15 credits, and a long battle, a war, they call it, it's 30 credits. So now that we have the card out, I'll just kind of explain a little bit about this thing. There are different races of cards. There's the blue, the yellow, kind of orangey, red, and green over there, and they all have damage counters for themselves, as well as a little rubber band, which is kind of considered a laser beam, and I'll hopefully be able to demonstrate that using this cell phone camera. In any case, so we have our races. They're all slightly different. They all have a little special power, racial power that they have, but I'll explain kind of what every card has in common. At the top, it has the name of the ship. This is a Magnus. This word VAC, that is the name of the race, and the cruiser, that's also the type of ship essentially that it is. Everyone's going to have a cargo ship, and they're also all going to have a flagship. Those are just always going to be in your deck no matter what. They don't count towards your credit total that I mentioned earlier. So in any case, so you have your ship card. So there's the name over there. This number right here, that's your initiative order. Lower initiatives will go first. So, you know, 1 is faster than a 5. And even you can just kind of see the difference between it. That's a 14, so that's very powerful. Got lots of stuff coming out of it. That's a little bit smaller, so it's got a lower number. It's more maneuverable. 3, that's the number of damage it can take before it explodes. This is the credit cost, as I mentioned, so that's the dollar amount that you can spend to put it in your deck. And that is the victory points that you get. So in a 2-player game, anytime a ship is destroyed, whether it's destroyed by you or destroyed by your opponent, it's going to go to your opponent. Because there is friendly fire in this game, so if my laser does hit the ship, then I do damage to that ship. Normally, whenever you are doing damage to ships, so basically I went through that card. I also want to mention that this red border here, that is a shield. So basically if a laser were to hit a shield, it bounces off and it doesn't do any damage. I should also mention that even though the ship though is in the center here, if a laser hits any part of the card, it is considered hitting the ship. So even if it goes through this bottom corner here, that's still a hit on the ship. In a short battle, like I said, it's 30 seconds long. So what we do is we have 10 credits to spend in a short battle. So the first phase we're going to do is we're going to prepare our deck. So different ships have different values. The higher value ships are generally more expensive, and they sometimes tend to go slower, so they're higher in the initiative order. So I've just laid out the yellow ships right now just as an example, but initially what we would do is we would go through our deck and we would pick out enough ships to equal our credit total. So for the blue player, I picked out a bunch of low value ships. These are level 1s, They only take 1 hit to blow up, but I might be able to swarm out there really quickly and kind of blow up everybody before they even have a chance to attack me. So it doesn't really matter how powerful you are. If you don't get a chance to shoot, then oh well. So I could put in all of these low value ones. I could take out 3 of those and add in a slightly bigger one. That's 3. Once I've equaled 10 and I'm happy with what I have, I take all the cards, I shuffle them up, and then I put my cargo ship on the top of my deck, and I put my flagship on the bottom of the deck. So the flagship's always going to be the last one, the cargo ship's always going to be the top one. So as we go on, then once the battle starts, as I said, this is a short battle, so we're only going to be playing for 30 seconds. So you set a timer for 30 seconds on your phone or whatever you have, and then you go. So you lay out a ship wherever you like. Your first one's always going to be your cargo ship. You can move it anywhere you want, but as soon as you remove your finger from it, it stops there. It's going to stay stuck in position. You cannot move it, touch it, deploy it. Can't do anything to it ever again. Then you lay out your next card. What's your next card? And again, you want to aim it towards, your opponent's stuff. Don't aim it towards your own things. And you want to go quickly because, again, your battleship is at the bottom, and you really want to make sure you get to that battleship. Now I'm aiming these ships at the cargo ship right now to try to get some points, because I'll explain that in just a second. You can't overlay cards on top of other cards. So let's just say I put this right here, and then I have my battleship, and say I put the battleship right over there. Okay, so 30 seconds is done. Boop. All right, everybody's got to stop playing cards. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to load up our cargo ship. So each cargo ship in a 2-player game is going to get 8 cubes of cargo. If that cargo stays on that ship at the end of the game, however many cargo cubes you have is going to be worth a victory point. Similarly, if someone were to shoot the ship, so I'll just kind of explain right now. So once everybody's played all their cards and we've laid the cargo on the ship, and I just want to reiterate, in a 2-player game you each get 8 pieces of cargo. In a 3-player game you each get 5 pieces of cargo. And in a 4-player game you each get 4 pieces of cargo. So everybody's out there, and then if you didn't wind up playing all your cards in 30 seconds, you just don't play them, and that's that. So we assess initiative order. First order of business is the number 1s. Now I didn't get into any of the racial abilities of the people that we're using, but and also I didn't mention the different laser types. While I was talking about the ships, I forgot to mention laser types. So if a ship does damage, it depends on how much damage it does based on the laser type. So this is a thin purple one. This one is worth 1 point of damage. These red, slightly thicker ones do 2 points of damage, and then these green, thick ones do 3 points of damage. So usually your smaller ships do less damage. This also has an orange beam coming out of it, and the orange beam is something special just for the VACs. They are able to, their orange beam pierces lasers. So previously, I mentioned you can't shoot through lasers. The blue people can shoot through lasers. It just does 1 point of damage, but it's still useful. The yellow players, those are the, Tekatori. They do have some scout ships that are 0 cost. I didn't put any out there, but they have scout ships that are 0 cost. The red player, that's the Hexai. They have some ships that can shoot twice. You can see here their initiative order. There's 2 numbers, so they'll fire on initiative 13 and on initiative 16. And the green player has some laser beams. I can't see them here, but they're blue, and they will add 2 seconds. They'll add 2 to your initiative order. So if they were able to fire on somebody, then initiative goes from 8 to 10, and you can keep stacking those on top. In any case, that's diving into the racial abilities. So we have prepared, we've laid out all of our ships, that's deployment, and then we do battle. So we're going through initiative. These level 1s are going to fire first. So I am going to try to set the phone down for just a second so that you can kind of see how this works. So basically you have your rubber bands, and what you do is you stretch them across the board. So let's see if I can kind of show this with one hand, probably not. So let's just say this ship was going, so I would Sorry if that's pretty terrible, but I was holding the phone in my mouth while I tried to do that. But essentially, you stretch the laser over the ship from wherever, sorry, you stretch the rubber band from over the ship from lining up with however the laser goes. So this blue ship, and these are all number 1s, they all fire simultaneously. So even if the other team had ships that were level 1, everybody's basically firing at the exact same time. So if this level 1 ship hits this cargo ship, it's going to get get a piece of cargo dependent on how strong the laser was. So this was a level 1, so that gets a piece of cargo there. And then this level 1 is going to hit the ship, that gets a piece of cargo there. Let's see, any other level 1s? Here's a level 1. This guy hits the ship, so he is going to do some damage. So when you do damage, you have your damage counters and you put them on there. Now as you can see, this did 1 damage, and it only takes 1 damage to kill him, but again, we assess all the ships first, so even if this ship fired first, hit him, he still gets to fire and then do his activity. It also looks like this purple hit that as well, so it would also get a damage token. Okay, so once we've assessed all the level 1s, then we go to the next level 2, nothing, level 3, here's some more level 3s. Again, we're going to assess damage on everybody. So once the level 1s have all fired, then we're going to see if anybody has enough damage to explode. So this person did have enough damage to explode, so they are going to get removed from the board. The cargo that they stole just gets vaporized, gets thrown out in outer space. And then even though the blue player was the one who hit it, again, it goes to their opponent, and that's going to be worth 1 victory point for the opponent at the end of the game. And now, obviously, that space is open, so potentially, you know, if this person was going to fire and they were blocked by somebody else, now that person's gone, so it doesn't really matter. If the cargo ship gets completely depleted of cargo, it gets removed from the game. And any ships that still had cargo on them at the end of the round, at the end of the game, essentially, the game takes place after every ship is fired their 1 time. Any ships that are still alive at the end of the game, any cargo that they took is going to be worth 1 victory point. And any ships that were destroyed and in your collection is going to be worth the number of victory points listed at the top. And then that's the game. Whoever has most victory points is the winner. And you can shuffle up and start again if you want. And again, it does go up to 3 and 4 players. And let me see here if I'm missing anything else. Yes, so I should mention also that in a 3 and 4 player game, if multiple ships are firing on the cargo ship at the same time, let's say a blue player and a red player were both firing at the cargo ship at the same time, and there wasn't enough cargo to dispense to both of them, first you assess the purple, so let's say purple and purple, let's say this green fired on the cargo ship, and this is a, what is that, orange? Yeah, orange, that's level 1. So basically, if there was only, let's say there are 3 cargo pieces on there. Also, I should mention, if yellow were to fire on its own cargo ship, the cargo does get removed, but it doesn't stay on the ship, it just gets vaporized, because you can't just shoot your own ship, basically, to steal cargo from it. So in this scenario, green fires on yellow, blue fires on yellow, there's 3 cargo cubes there. Even though green is supposed to get 3 for the damage, it wouldn't just take all 3. First, we assess lowest value, so this is orange, that's going to get 1 cube, and then green also obviously hits, so that also gets 1 cube. And then if, let's say, this green over here was also firing on it, that would also get 1 cube, and then that would be it. But let's pretend like that's not there. Okay, if that's not there, then we see, okay, this person doesn't get any more cargo cubes, this person still gets a cargo cube, so they would get the second cargo cube, and then that would be it, basically. If damage occurred, if there was a tie in the number of damage that came onto a ship, let's say yellow and blue both tied for the amount of damage they did to this ship. If let's say red hit it for a point of damage and yellow hit it for a point of damage, if they both tie on damage, then it just gets vaporized, nobody scores points. But if yellow had hit more damage, it would get the points. If the damage tied is equal and the person whose color it is did damage as well, then they break ties, which is kind of a bad thing, because not only does yellow doesn't get those points, blue would get negative the amount of victory points that they have. So any ships that you blow up that is your own color in a 3 and 4 player game becomes negative victory points for your pile. So you want to make sure that you don't do that. And I believe that's everything. The video is longer than the game takes to play, so hopefully you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks.